Straight Outta Khemri, crazy pharaoh mummy named Settra. Without a doubt, he's coming to get you. And with that chariot of the gods, resplendent in the sunlight, he's coming for some Empire booties deep in the jungles of Lustria. I have returned from my journey across an ocean of stars to reach you. And that means more glorious Warhammer 2 action is on the way. And a Tomb Scorpion with a mummified Lich Priest deep inside will be a vehicle of death for the Empire state troops unfortunate enough to get in its way. While the Royal Altdorf Demigryph Knights, the elite of the elite in the Empire's Inner Circle Knights, and a staple of the multiplayer meta since their introduction all the way back in the Grim and the Grave, will be the linchpin for mankind. Happy freaking Festag! It's Toddy! Kazdrak took his eye, and he's on a griffin, which means he's a scary dude with regen, and it ain't nothing to mess with. Now this replay is from Konos. He has the high ground for now. A lot of Tomb Guard, and the Chosen of the Gods Ushabti, ready to drop some long-range artillery pounding, and of course, Settra the Imperishable, King of Kings, with Jeff's incantation of Cursed Blades. My name's Jeff. Nero's incantation, Desiccation, and the Blessed Blade of the Sun God, which will really help out should he get into 1v1 with Mr. Todbringer. Tomb Scorpion will be vanguarded all the way out on the right flank, getting a little bit sneaky up in here, which I'd like to see. A lot of people don't utilize that vanguard for the Tomb Scorpion, but it can pay some pretty huge dividends. And on the other side of the field, Empire army looking a little bit generic, honestly, but that certainly doesn't mean it's bad. He's got all the tools he needs to win, swarming the field with a bunch of state troops, while the Knights, Demis, and Boris strike the decapitating blow. With a Jade Wizard with that fire damage blast that can be very nice against Tomb King's characters, cut the head off the Desert Viper, and his army will wither away. Ushabti unloading their bolts now, and on the other end, things are gonna get pretty messy. It's almost like being pierced by a bolt as big as your arm is not beneficial for one's health. And they're getting wrecked right now, and they have a long hill to climb if they want to get in range. But it looks like Tomb Kings might be getting very aggressive early, and Settra the Imperishable on that Chariot of the Gods gonna bust right through. And it doesn't matter if you're Spearman and you're braced for it, he's still gonna wreck you off that charge. He has a 100 charge bonus, crazy high melee attack, and that won't all disappear the second he reaches into melee. So he's gonna run through him, get 6 kills, and run away. Draw a lot of fire right now. Could have gotten scary, but they don't have none of an Ammon Tuck or anything really to pin him down early on. So Boris could certainly beat the crap out of him if he got a charge bonus off. But otherwise, Settra can kind of run around for now and have a pretty good time as long as he gets nowhere near those demis. This is going to be a brutal approach. There's no two ways about it. Tomb Kings have overwhelming range firepower and a really nice position. They can kind of just pick apart the handguns and the crossbows, and the Ushabti will be able to move past the crest of the hill, move out of the line of sight of those handguns, and force them into a position where they have to move forward and get murdered by all the skeleton archers. So Tomb Kings have a commanding position for the moment, but it's not something that Empire has to worry about too much as long as they can kind of weather the initial storm here. Because once they tie down those Ushabti in the back of the Empire Knights, it won't be such a big deal. But Settra will definitely cause some problems on the front line. The cool thing about the Empire build, though, the way he's built it, he really doesn't have a lot of elites. So it looks like, yeah, he's kind of taking a beating, but he really doesn't have anything expensive in the front line at all. So everything that's died so far has been very cheap. Boris did manage to get into the Ushabti, and a nice rear charge from the Empire Knights into the Tomb Guard, doing quite a bit of damage there. And these skeleton spearmen will not be braced, and that is a nice way to use cavalry. You don't always have to worry about spears. As long as you pull out, use that impact damage, pull out right away, spears won't really have a chance to do very much damage to you at all. So doing a lot of damage on the left flank as Settra moves around, and a Tomb Scorpion giving Empire state troops the business with the tail thwap, shaking that ass, shaking that booty, and really pancaking the left flank of this Empire formation. That cheap terror and the tankiness, the animations of that Tomb Scorpion all combined to make it what, in my opinion, is the best unit in the Tomb Kings roster. Although, yeah, you could probably argue for Ushabti Great Boss as well. So there's a reason both of them have been brought to the field. Settra is just a terror right now. There is nothing that is tying him down. Royal Altdorf Demigryph Knights are kind of defending the back line, but they're not over where Settra is, so it's kind of scary for the Empire at the moment. Ushabti Great Bows and Skeleton Archers are all going to retreat to the safety of that Tomb Guard with Halberd Bastion, and here, some Granby rolling, showing them who's boss, painting the town red, and a terror route for the Empire left flank, and more in the center. So you look at this right now and you say, oh yeah, Tomb Kings totally have this in the bag. So much routing again, this is all the unimportant stuff. I mean, sure, you don't want to lose your handguns, you don't want to lose your crossbows, but they're routing. They're not shattered. They're not broken. They're going to come back very soon, and it's not going to be the biggest deal as long as these Empire Knights can get into the cookie jar. Now, it's not going to be the easiest thing ever, because he has a lot of spears and halberds protecting that ranged back line, and they are very grouped up right now. That is what you would definitely call a bastion, a citadel. It will be tough to break, but the Empire Knights have chosen a different target in Tomb Guard. Certainly not a bad one, and they're going to be going for a ride here. Check that out. Gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. And if I had to be given a choice between seeing historical Total War games where you see a charge come in and just kind of limp dick and it stops immediately, or see very over the top where they go flying 30 feet, I'd pick that 30 feet every single day of the week. That's why I love it. Ushabti's incantation of desiccation going down on the Demigryphs, lowering their melee attack to 0, but they're not fighting anything right now, so not the biggest deal ever. Empire Knights going down to Settra and some Tomb Guard, and Settra can kill Cav without question. Not too hard for him at all. He's got more than 450 weapon strength on that Chariot of the Gods and 100 speed, so he's definitely going to be able to catch him pretty easily. Boris Todbringer on Overwatch right now, and the Demi's taking some shots, taking a lot of damage from the Ushabti Great Bows, who are being used very well right now and protected, almost unassailable when they form Voltron the way they have. That is going to be a tough nut to crack, but Empire needs to commit to it, because those Ushabti, if they're able to fire the entire game, they are going to carry this battle. There's no two ways about it. You will lose the game if you let them shoot all their ammo into high value stuff like the Demis and Boris, but right now Boris is in very good shape, taking down the Necrothect. Settra down to half HP, more like 2/3 right now, but that's a nice use of the Wrath of Petra, and it'll do a lot of damage, carve a path through the Empire State troops who are coming in to reinforce. Boris, though, in very good shape, and he's going to have Lore of Life to heal him up and that regen, so he's going to be in very good shape for a very long time here. Killing him probably going to be extremely tough for the Tomb Kings, because they don't have a lot of anti-large tools that can actually catch him. Empire Knights into it now, and the Citadel has cracked a bit. Voltron has been dissolved, and Empire Knights are into the archers and crumbling them very quickly, while the handguns fire in from the flank, do some damage to the Tomb Guard, who are crumbling now. Settra into the thick of it, into the halberds, and another decapitating strike as he rides by, cruising down the hood in his 6.4, jocking the biddies, slapping the hose, and he'll go right into the handguns if he'll want to, I think. Yeah, he'll go straight for the handguns, because the Demis might not be the best solution for him to go after right now. The Royal Altdorf Demigryph Knights would put him in the dirt very quickly if they got us round off, and those scything blades will cut the legs off the Empire State troops who tried to hold the line. But you can't hold the line in front of a god. The Khemri Ka is a monster. Demis into the Chosen of the Gods, and this is where the Empire can really turn things into their favor. If Boris and these Demis can take down all the Ushabti, they could take a commanding lead in this battle. Empire Knights going around the flank, and the Ushabti have been summoned, so this will be a very important fight. Settra will probably not want to have any part of, to be honest. Really nice charge into the Skeleton Archers. Should be the end of them as the handguns route on the right side of the screen. Boris Todbringer should be able to kill his Ushabti pretty easy. So now, this is the problem with protecting your back line with only infantry. Very fast movers like the Cavalry can kind of get in there, and you're suddenly not going to have a very good way to close them down quickly. They can cycle charge, pull out. Boris doesn't care too much about a couple of halberds if he can kind of avoid them for a bit of the battle, and he has Lore of Life to support, so he's doing fine, and I could say even doing very well at the moment. But on the other side of the battlefield, the Tomb Kings have really committed to everything down the hill, and basically just begun ritual slaughter with the Khemri Ka charging forward with his Tomb Guard in support, bowling through these halberds, and they'll have the impetus to go right through and get at the crossbows as well. And all that is going to rout. And I don't know how much of it will come back. It is very depleted at this point. On the top of the hill, Empire having a much better time. Boris and his knights carrying the day as you would expect they would. Boris is a monster. He really is. He's a great lord. A lot of utility, a lot of power on that Griffin. And the Chosen of the Gods will crumble in the face of that Empire Knight charge. And get some close quarters combat, some CQC going. Ushabti destroyed and falling into a heap on the grassy knoll up top. So yeah, Empire Knights are doing what they can to carry this battle, and they are killing some really important units that need to die if the Empire wants to win this one. And balance board now in the Empire's favor after killing all the stuff at the top of the hill. But Settra's still around, Jade Wizard's still around, all the important stuff for both sides, besides those chosen of the gods really, are still in the fight, although everything is depleted at this point. And they are going to get into those Great Bow Ushabti, who did not get support from the Tomb Guard with halberds, who did not have the mobility to get there in time. And losing some models here. Crossbow's getting some more shots in there as well. Boris probably not going to want to charge into halberds. But this might very well come down to a duel between him and Settra. Both armies severely depleted at this point. But the Empire has taken the hill that the Tomb Kings originally started on. Tomb Scorpion in a very juicy position to snack, to feast on the Empire crossbows. And that is what it will do. Bisect them with those rending claws. Send them to the underworld, which actually, Moor and Usirian, technically the same god. So Nehekaran Pantheon and Empire Pantheon kind of share some similarities there, considering they're overseen by the same god of death. But Settra now into the fight with Boris Todbringer and his Blessed Blade of Petra going in, and that's really going to help him in this duel. Normally Todbringer would destroy him, but that debuff is pretty substantial, and he has the support from Ushabti and Tomb Guard with halberds. So Boris took a lot of damage right there, and will try to use that regen if he has any left on his health pool. He might be near the cap. Earthblood has hit him a couple times this game, and he has that innate regen, so he might be pretty close to the cap, if not already, as a nice cav charge comes in, and that might be enough to destroy the rest of those Tomb Guard infantry. Scorpion still free though, and nothing has been done to shut that thing down. Handgunners will try to run away, but can't really. Settra in there, and a very nice target because the cav are gone for the most part. Demis and the Knights took a lot of damage from that one unit of Ushabti who managed to fire up the hill and hit them in the flank. Crossbows are still around, and this battle is completely spread out still. I mean, it is completely all over the battlefield right now, but is beginning to kind of coalesce into a, well, kind of still a logical form. There aren't really battle lines. It's a complete surround off, actually, for the Empire, but it's a surround that can easily be broken by both the Tomb Scorpion and Settra himself, who are now charging forward, getting into the very squishy range units, and blood fountaining from their bodies as more and more of these high-value units for the Tomb Kings hit their mark. And Empire, they need to get Boris Todbringer on top of Settra, and they need to finish it off right here, right now. And the Chariot of the Gods does not exactly thrive in this kind of fight with a large target. Remember, it has the bonus for infantry. Doesn't get that bonus for large unless he casts Overcast Incantation of Cursed Blades on himself. Tomb Scorpion is defending him with Ushabti, getting some close range shots into the Empire Knights. And Boris Todbringer actually taking some friendly fire damage from that handgun volley, and he got beaten up in that fight when Settra decided to turn around. He was at the regen cap. No more healing for you, Mr. Todbringer. And Toddy running from the field. Settra might take his other eye. Some shots going into the Empire Knights, and that will pretty much put the nail in the proverbial coffin, in the sarcophagus for the Empire. As Boris runs from the field, Tomb Scorpion at full HP, and the handguns and the crossbows and spearmen are not going to have the killing power to win this one. Concession will go in, and that will be your battle. And what a battle it was. Settra the Imperishable with 187 kills, racking them up so fast. There are very few units in Warhammer 2 that can rack up that many kills that quickly. DPS on the Chariot of the Gods is pretty absurd when he's microed well, and he showed it off here. I mean, he was just non-stop moving, non-stop cycle charging. When you have a 100 charge bonus, it kind of makes sense, right? You can just run stuff over and over and over and over again, keep running it through, side them down, and yeah, the Empire, Royal Altdorf Demigryph Knights needed to invest a little bit more of their time into going after Settra, I think, and Boris probably would have benefited from that as well. Issue was that that Citadel up top, the Ushabti Great Bows, really were making a huge impact on the battle, and he had to commit the cav to killing them. So I understand the dilemma there. Of course, Settra got a lot of kills. They weren't on particularly high value stuff, although you want the handguns and crossbows gone for sure. So we needed to go after them. But I mean, impressive showing from the Tomb Kings there. Tomb Scorpion, 95 kills as well. Really awesome battle. Empire did a good job with the cav. Did a good job shutting down the stuff up top. Boris made a big impact here, and those Royal Altdorf Demigryph Knights, don't let that small kill count fool you. That was 24 kills, all on Ushabti. So not that bad, but at the end of the day, Tomb Kings, Straight Outta Khemri are going to take it. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time. Any Pride, signing out for now.